Hey, how's it going guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I showed you the step-by-step how to change the brake fluid of your Honda CRF300L. Let's get started. Starting here in the rear brake caliper, you're going to remove this cover of the nipple, and then you're going to connect a hose. I have here a transparent hose. You put it over this nipple like this, and then I like to guide the hose using here my brake disc to come out and stay fixated where I want it, so like this. Now here on your rear brake pump, you're going to need a spanner, a 7mm spanner, and we're going to open these two screws. Recommended to have a paper towel nearby, just in case it's needed. So remove it. Honda advises you to use either .3 or .4. What I have here is .4, and make sure that you always use a brand new container when you're doing the change. Usually there's going to be this aluminum cover in here, and the best way, or at least what I like to do, is just to make two little holes, one on each side. Let me show to you. So, just like this, one on each side. Here's how it's going to go. You need the 8mm spanner, which is to open the bleeding nipple that is here on the back, and you need to use both of your hands at the same time while also keeping an eye at the brake fluid level. So you don't want the brake fluid level to drop too much in here, otherwise you're going to introduce air inside the system. So how you're going to do it, you press the brake lever, or you press the rear brake lever, and then you open the nut in the back. Then you push the brake lever all the way. Now before, that's the important part, do not let loose of the brake lever. First close the nipple, and now you can release the brake. Repeat this once again. Press on the brake lever. Now let me open the nipple. It goes all the way. Before I release here the brake lever, I'm going to close it again. Now let it go. And you see that every time you do that, you're going to pump some old brake fluid out. Now, it is very simple to do all of this, but if it's your first time, just make sure that you take it easy. So let me repeat once again. As you're doing this, make sure, do not forget to keep an eye here inside on the brake fluid level. Every time you expel some of the old brake fluid, this level is going to go down, so you need to top it off. And the order is always the same. You're going to compress the brake, keep it compressed, don't let it go. Then you open the bleeder valve. Then you're going to notice that the brake lever here is going to go down even more. Before you release, let go of the brake, you have to then close the bleeding valve, and then you can let it go of the brake lever. That's it. Repeat it until you see new brake fluid coming off on your tube. Once that's done, you have to top it off to the correct level, the brake fluid. Now, it is very hard for me to record this, but I can tell you, when you look here inside of the cylinder, you will notice that there is a line that goes around. So you want to fill up with brake fluid up to this line. Once it is filled up, go ahead and reinstall the parts. These two screws require a very low torque, so I do not have a torque range for this type of screw, but see, it's just finger tight. Now it's time to disconnect the hose. So what I like to do in here is to clean with a towel the end of the hose. Now I'm going to tap this with my finger, and I'm going to remove the hose here from the top, but you're also using this towel or whatever, piece of cloth, whatever, rag, whatever you have it there. So I want to put it and flip it up like this. Now as I have in this position, now as I have the hose pointed up, then I'm going to release the hose there from below, so all the brake fluid goes into the reservoir. Do everything that is possible so you don't get any brake fluid on the painting of your motorcycle, and of course neither on the brake disc of your motorcycle. If this happens, either wash it off if it goes on the painting, but if you go on your brake disc, then you should clean with a brake cleaner.
Now, of course, it is better to do this type of maintenance when you're at home, and especially before you start a motorcycle trip. But not only this, it gives you the chance to get acquainted with your motorcycle. So if you need to do any repairs while you're out traveling, you already have the experience on how to do it. That's why it is very important that you take the time to build a good toolkit for your motorcycle. And at the heart of every good toolkit is going to be a good way for you to carry your tools. So let me show to you the Royamoto 2-roll. The Royamoto 2-roll is a lightweight, compact, but big enough to carry all of the tools that you need while you're out riding. It comes with several pockets, including very small ones to securely store very small spanners, but also if you want, you can store quite wide items inside these pockets. And it also has 4 elastic loops for you to store long items. So here I have my trail jack, a hand pump, an extension, and another smaller extension. In addition, you have these large pockets. On this one, I like to keep the sockets that I use most often. And on these 2 smaller pockets, I also have tools that I'm not going to use all the time. Here on the flap, you have a place for you to write your details in case you lose it. And you also have this mesh pocket, which is ideal for storing flat and smaller items. I've been working on my motorcycles for over 8 years, and I find super important to carry magnets with you. That's why we included 2 pockets, so you can have 2 magnets, and of course you can also remove them like this. And in case you remove the magnet and you, for whatever reason, drop a screw of your motorcycle in a place where you cannot reach, you can just attach the magnet to fish the screw. And that also gives you a place to position screws and nuts that you remove from your motorcycle so they don't get lost. If you want more details about the Royamoto 2-roll, just check here in the description or go to royamoto.com/2roll. And now back to the video.
To start with the front brake, we're going to focus here on the reservoir for the brake fluid, but you're going to notice that it's quite an angle, right? So it is not level, but it's at an angle. So in order to fix this, turn the handlebar of your motorcycle all the way to the right. Now you can see that the reservoir is level, so you can go ahead and remove these 2 top screws. Have a paper towel nearby, remove the cover. Now remove the spacer plate and the diaphragm. So here you can see why you need to have it level, because if it was tilted, then the brake fluid could come out of the reservoir. So that's why you need to have it level. And I'm going to use a syringe to get most of this old brake fluid out. Now let's do the same thing now on the front brake caliper. Remove the cover of the bleeding valve. Put here your hose. So now I'm going to top it off with new brake fluid. So the idea here is exactly the same, but instead of using the rear brake, we're going to use the front brake lever. So this means you're going to first compress the front brake, then you open the bleeder valve, close the bleeder valve and release the front brake. As you're doing this, once again, the brake fluid level is going to go down, so you have to top it off. You repeat until you have fresh brake fluid. So that's the only position I have in here, but what I'm doing, I'm now compressing the front brake, and then I'm opening the bleeder valve, and then I close the bleeder valve, and I release the front brake. Repeat. Once you're finished, you need to replenish the brake fluid to its correct level. So you can look here inside of the reservoir, there's a line, and this line indicates the level that you have to do it. You can also here look at this visor. This visor has an indication of the lower point that you can have. So it's going to be above and never below the lower line. Now let's put the diaphragm with the spacer plate back on. Now put the metal cover, and finally the 2 screws. Now before you get up to speed with your motorcycle, just hop on it, test the brake, make sure that everything feels right, and then finally you're finished. If you like this video, I think you're also going to like the next one that is here on the screen. Bye bye.